Hi everybody. I wanted to make this video for a long time, and I wanted to share my experience with my personal journey to awakening. So this was about 10 years ago now, and I figured if I shared my experiences with people, it might give them some guidance or some hope. So basically, I was at a really weird place in my life. It was a few years after high school, and I had just lost my whole group of friends. I had no direction in my life. I was just downward spiraling, directionless, living in a haze pretty much. So I eventually made a new group of friends, and we were spending a lot of time in nature. And I think being out in nature a lot helped me become grounded and connected to the earth, and able to anchor the spiritual energy that's always around us, that's trying to reach us. So I made some notes just so I don't leave anything out. All right, I'm going to skip all that stuff and just kind of get to the point. So I was on vacation with one of my friends, and she was a really spiritual person. She was always saying these spiritual quotes, how we're not humans having a spiritual experience, we're souls having a human experience. And I would just roll my eyes, whatever. But then one night, everything kind of changed for me. We were having a conversation. I don't remember what it was about, but she said, "Come with me." And she took me into the bathroom. And she said, "Look in the mirror at your forehead, in between your eyes, and keep looking there." And then she started chanting something. I don't remember what it was. But she was a Middle Eastern girl, and she was just chanting. And then she said, chant with me and keep looking right here. So I kept staring right there, and I was chanting. And then she turned off the light, and she said, "Don't stop chanting and don't stop looking." So I had to get closer, and I kept chanting and looking. And and she said, "There's a light in your mind that needs to be turned on." So she said, you have the light inside, find it, pretty much. And as I kept staring and chanting, something shifted, my eye muscles or something kind of shifted. And I felt this tingling sensation in my mind, and I just felt all this power. So after a few minutes, I kept doing that, and then, that was it. And, I went to sleep. It was late at night. And I had, woken up, and I kind of, put it in the back of my mind. I kind of, didn't really think much of it. I was just whatever, she just did some weird thing, But the things that started happening after that, I can't even put into words. I was getting sign after sign after sign. And I didn't realize it at the time, but she had helped me open my third eye. And I believe when it's, when the conditions are right, when you're ready for it, it's going to happen. So if you're listening to this video right now, maybe it's time for you to either open your third eye or reopen it if it closed. So yeah. So basically, let me see. Basically, I started seeing signs everywhere, and I was mainly seeing triangles a lot. The tree branches would intersect together, and just a perfect triangle would be popping out at me. And I wasn't even looking for it. It would just my mind would make me look somewhere, and I would see. That's so weird. I need to show you this because that just happened as I went to do an example. Literally, the magnetism in my mind just led me again. And across the room, I just looked right at this. So anyway, I guess I was attracting just spiritual visions and things that I needed to see. So I would find triangle rocks. There would be like a piece of paper stored in a pile of papers, and one of them would be like sticking out, making like a perfect triangle. So I was seeing triangles everywhere. Eventually, I'm like, I need to look up what this means. So I Googled like the spiritual meaning of triangles, and it has to do with the mind, body, soul connection. And this was a time in my life where I really, really needed this whole idea of the mind, body, soul connection too, because I was having a lot of health issues. I had gotten bitten by a tick, and I was having a lot of like neurological issues and pain, like alternating pain and numbness. I went to the ER, I can't tell you how many times, and the doctor how many times, just to be told nothing was wrong, which, as you can imagine, is really frustrating when you know something's wrong. So it led me to taking my health into my own hands. So as all this third eye opening activation was happening, I was also trying to figure out how to get more into my body and to help deal with my health issues. So I came across a book about acupressure, and it amazed me how you can touch certain points in your body and it could help heal you and it could help make you feel better. So I was doing like acupressure points on my wrist for anxiety and things like that. And then it was really funny. This same girl was cleaning out her room one day, and she had like a little one of those like three-prong massage looking things. So I took it, and I remember I put it right here, and then I just put it down my arm, and something in my like neck like popped into place, and I just felt my whole spine kind of like free itself and move. It was really cool, because also during this whole Lyme disease thing, I had gotten my wisdom teeth out, and I think like something was messed up in my spine. So I had like a lot going on. Something was messed up in my jaw, which was messing with my entire spine. I just had a lot going on, and it kind of all started to like unravel the more I paid attention to the signs, and the more I actually followed my intuition. So I had all this going on, and then a little while later I was on Facebook, and I saw this like mesmerizing girl on Facebook. She had like really blue hair, and she was gorgeous, and she had like a little jewel in her third eye, and I was like, oh cool, I know about the third eye, I'm gonna request her. So she accepted my friend request, and a lot of her posts were about spiritual awakening and third eye and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, this is cool. What a awesome synchronicity. So after that happened, like probably like not even a week later, I was hanging out with a group of friends, and we there was a person there who I've never met before. And that person told me about the Illuminati. And I literally had to lay down so I didn't fall over, because suddenly, like, everything made sense. It was like the answer to all of my questions of what's wrong with the world, like, why is the world like this? You know, even as a child, I knew something was wrong, and I would ask the grown-ups, and they would say, that's just the way it is. It's the rules. It's the law. That's just the way it is. And I always wanted to know why. I was always a big why person. Like in school, I would get in trouble for asking why about so many things. And they would say, listen, just study what we're telling you, pass the test, and then go back and explore the whys. And like I would, and things still wouldn't add up, you know? So this was everything for me. And he's like, yeah, it's like, you know, a secret government that's controlling everything pretty much. So he said, you know, he took out $1 and said, look at this pyramid on the dollar. There's an all-seeing eye at the top of it. That's Big Brother. That's the government. They're watching you. They're controlling the money. They're controlling your minds. They're controlling everything. So needless to say, I laid down like just so I didn't fall over. I was like, holy shit. So that was another piece of the puzzle for me. So I was spending a lot of time exploring the truth of the world, because the third eye is the light in your mind. And if it's opened, you're going to see the truth of things. If it's closed, you're going to be trapped in illusion and brainwashing, pretty much. So I'm just like reading book after book, going to website after website, learning like the truth about all the wars and, the truth about the world. And how, it's a lot. It really is. So needless to say, I was kind of experiencing a lot of anxiety over it. And while I was able to balance all the world's pain with all the world's beauty, like I was also learning about the Fibonacci sequence and the spiral of creation found in nature and all living things, and telekinesis, and how our dreams are speaking to us and all this cool stuff. So it's kind of like, balancing it out. And also a cool thing about the triangles that I learned is, so you have the base of the triangle, left eye, right eye, top of the triangle, third eye. So it was kind of also teaching me to rise above duality. So instead of being stuck in duality, I was just trying to find inner peace. And I was able to find it using a lot of the techniques that I used, but there was still a lot more to learn. So one day I came home from, let me just make sure I'm on track. Yeah, everyone thought I was crazy about the government and the third eye stuff, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so I learned that if you do puzzles, it's a really good way to just balance your mind and to find peace. So I was doing a lot of puzzles. So I had a puzzle set up in the sunroom at my parents' house where I was living at the time. And I came in from a hike, and I walked in and I was like on a beeline to do my puzzle instead of going to watch TV like I used to do. Like I wasn't filling my mind with all that crazy garbage. So I was going to do my puzzle. And I walked in and I like stopped in my tracks because my mom was there working on the puzzle too. And normally me and my mom never got along. Like we would bicker about everything until one of us walked away. But in that moment, I was just like, I sensed her peace, and like I just had peace too. So I didn't say anything, and I just joined her, and together we connected in silence, working on the puzzle on a common goal. So I was in that moment, I was just completely overcome with a peace that I never realized was there. Because I guess on a subconscious level, when I would see my mom, my body would feel tense because what are we going to fight about this time? But this time we weren't fighting about anything, and we were getting along. And I experienced a true peace in my heart that coursed through my whole body. And I just felt this really feminine energy delicately come over me and wash through me and swirl around me. And in that moment, I was just like, oh my God, there's energy flowing through us and around us. So I was in a place in my life where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life and my career and things like that. But I've always been really into the body and fitness and things like that. And I immediately ran to a mirror and I said, if our body is out of alignment, if we have one shoulder up here and if we have a lot of tension in our hip or whatever, then the energy is going to flow correctly. So it made me want to start self-massaging myself, which I eventually ended up going to massage school because of this. But to get back on track, I realized there's energy flowing through our bodies, and I was amazed by it. So I went to Google and typed in energy moving through us, and it led me to the chakras. So I was amazed. I was just going to website after website, going to Barnes and Nobles and getting out books on it, and I was just learning so much about these major energy centers in our body, and it was fascinating to me. And then later that night, the day that I did the puzzle and I felt all the peace and the connection with my mom and everything, I really, really dropped into my heart space. And I realized how much pain and toxicity I was holding there for a long time with a lot of people. So I realized that I had forgiveness work to do if I wanted to start to feel better inside of myself. There was stuff I had to do. And I knew that I had done a lot of things in my life that hurt people. And I was like, basically, for the first time ever, truly, really sorry, crying about it. Like, instead of making excuses or avoiding it, I was just like, oh my God, I am sorry. So I didn't call anybody, I didn't say anything like that. But in that moment, I imagined an invisible connection between me and certain people from, wherever they were at that time. And I just started sending them love and saying, I'm sorry. And then I thought to myself, like, they're never going to forgive me, And then I thought, wow, if I want people to forgive me, I need to forgive the people who hurt me too. And that was really, really hard. But I'm telling you, I must have stayed up till 4 a.m. just thinking of certain situations about how I wronged someone, and I had to energetically really send love and say I was sorry on a soul level. And then the people who hurt me, I had to release them because I actually felt myself holding them hostage, sending them hate. And I was just like, this is taking up a lot of my energy. Now that I know how energy works, this is taking up a lot of my energy. So I was sending them forgiveness. I was realizing that they had pain going on in their lives too, that they were projecting onto me, whatever. But I just started to really work on my heart and forgiveness. So that was where I was at. So I had my third eye activated and I had my heart activated. And in the meantime, I kept looking into chakras and learning more about it. And I eventually learned about the Kundalini energy. So the Kundalini energy is referred to as a serpent coiled at the base of your spine. So basically it's your sexual energy pent up in your tailbone. And a lot of us just store this energy here, and it could either make you really lazy or really active, but not conscious of what you're doing. So it's a very unconscious energy if you're not bringing it up. The whole idea around this Kundalini serpent at the base of your spine is you want to help it rise up your spine to achieve enlightenment. So I was very fascinated about it. And it brought me a lot of freedom, and it brought me a lot of conscious intention to my actions too. And then, the more I learned about just the chakras, specifically the sacral chakra, it's how we relate with others. So a lot of us have all this pent up sexual energy, and we use it to relate with others, either in good ways or bad ways. And for example, when we do something for somebody, we kind of expect to receive the same back. So if we do something good to somebody, we expect it back. That's our nature, is our nature of balance and life. So obviously a lot of people are hurting in that department of the sacral chakra, and we kind of just send the energy back and forth, it gets stronger and stronger when we're in a certain relationship dynamic, you did this and I did this and you did this and I did this and blah, 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 blah. And you have this pull, and, sometimes people would pull in the other direction and take you there. And it's just a magnetic type of pull, and it causes a lot of pain and imbalance. So what I learned about this energy center is you want to be grounded when you work with the Kundalini, because people warn about how powerful that energy is. And it is very powerful. It's a major power center of passion. But we want to be able to let go of expectations, pretty much. So I'm going to karmically put this energy into the world for the better of the world. And I'm not expecting the person that I specifically did this good deed for to return it, but I know that it will be returned to me. I release and I trust. And the more we do that, the more free we become. And we learn we can use this energy to bring it up. Instead of fighting and judging, just bring it up to achieve personal enlightenment, which is really, really amazing. So I just wanted to share the process of my awakening journey and how it unfolded, and hopefully it could help some people who are feeling stuck or directionless or whatever you're feeling. So it's really about being conscious of your energy and realizing the impact that you have in the world and how that affects your own personal life. So I hope this empowers some of you to dig deeper and work on your healing journey. I'm sending out love to everybody, and that's it. Have an awesome day.